Some Republican lawmakers want to make more crimes eligible for the death penalty in Kentucky. WDRB's Monica Harkins tells us why the push could result in court challenges. Monica?
Gil, executions can't be performed right now in Kentucky and haven't been for years. They've been paused for well over a decade. And one expert I talked to at the center of the legal battle says it's not clear if or when executions would restart. About 15 years ago, attorney David Barron, who now represents 12 of the current 26 Kentucky death row inmates, argued the way executions happened in Kentucky were unconstitutional and asked a judge to issue an injunction, a pause on executions. In 2010, a Franklin Circuit Court judge agreed, at least in part.
And the judge found that there were three areas of significant concern as to the constitutionality of the execution protocols.
Those three would be concern with the type of lethal injection drugs used, and if the state was unfairly condemning the mentally ill and mentally disabled. Barron says at minimum, those regulations would need to be changed before there'd be any more executions, let alone an execution date set.
The injunction is in place unless it's lifted or modified by a court. It must be complied with. You'd be violating a court order to do anything against it.
Meanwhile, some House Republicans have proposed the death penalty be considered for more crimes. For example, if someone were accused of killing a police officer, the prosecutor would be required to seek the death penalty under the newly proposed Safer Kentucky Act. Last week, I asked the bill sponsor if this was an aimless move, considering executions can't happen right now.
The death penalty? For murdering a law enforcement officer? No.
The exact bill language hasn't been released yet, but Barron warns it's possible some of these proposed changes might not stand up in court.
I think there are significant numerous aspects of it that would not satisfy constitutional requirements.
Exact bill language is expected as soon as December. In an additional statement today, Representative Baumann says, in part, it's up to the Department of Corrections to get things in order to continue executions in Kentucky, and that the lawmakers working on this legislation would welcome the department's input. I did, Gil, reach out to the Department of Corrections regarding if they even have the updated drugs that would be necessary to complete executions, and I haven't heard back.
All right, Monica Harkins, thank you for your reporting.